So we are holding Tractate Menachot, Amud Ayin Daled, page 74, A1. We just recently started, yesterday, the 7th chapter, Perek Shvi'i, and it's called, the name of the chapter is called Eilu Menachot Nikmatzot, which means these are the type of menachot that the Kohanim used to perform kemitzah. Taking some of the flour that was mixed with oil and frankincense, and they would take a small amount and place it on the altar. Minchat choteh shel Kohanim keminchat choteh shel Yisrael. The sinner's mincha of a Kohen to the sinner mincha of Israel. Ma minchat choteh shel Yisrael nikmetzet, af minchat choteh shel Kohanim nikmetzet. This comparison teaches that just as the sinner's mincha of Israel is subject to kemitzah, so is the sinner's mincha of a Kohen subject to kemitzah. I ma minchat choteh shel Israel nikmetzet v'shirei ne'echalim. Just as the sinner's mincha of Israel is subject to kemitzah and its remnants are eaten, af minchat choteh shel Kohanim nikmetzet v'shirei ne'echalim. The same thing applies to the mincha of the Kohanim, that you have to do kemitzah, and the remnants should be eaten. Talmud lomar la kohen kamincha, la kohen kamincha. The Torah states for the Kohen like the mincha, to convey that only with respect to the service that must be done by a Kohen, kemitzah, is that the sinner's mincha of a Kohen like the sinner mincha of Israel. Meaning that the mincha, la kohen kamincha teaches me that the service must be done by a Kohen. It is the sinner mincha of a Kohen like the sinner mincha of Israel. So when we are comparing the mincha of a Kohen to mincha of Israel, is specifically when it comes to a sinner's mincha. The sinner mincha should be compared to the sinner mincha of Israel. V'lo elo ishim kemincha, but with respect to the fires of the altar, it is not like the sinner mincha of Israel. If you look at number 1, by juxtaposing the words mincha twice, and Kohen, the word Kohen and the word mincha, the pasuk indicates that its analogy between the two menachos, sinner mincha of a Kohen and sinner mincha of Israel, is valid only with respect to an act that must be done by a Kohen, namely kemitzah. The analogy does not extend to the act of consuming the remnants, which can be done by either the Kohanim or the fires of the altar. Hence, the two menachos are alike in as so far as both require kemitzah, but they differ regarding consumption of the remnants. Whereas the sinner's mincha of Israel has its remnants consumed by the Kohanim, the sinner's mincha of a Kohen has its remnant consumed by the fire of the altar. As opposed to the sinner mincha of Israel that is consumed partially by the altar, the kemitzah, and then the rest of it, the remnants, are eaten by Israel. When it comes to the Kohen, we want to say that there is a difference. They're both having, kemitzah is done by both, but by a Kohen the whole thing ultimately is placed on the altar. By Israel only the kemitzah is placed on the altar, the rest is eaten by the Kohanim. That's what it says, La Talmud lomar, la kohen kamincha, la kohen kamincha. V'lo leishim kamincha, but with respect to the fires of the altar, it is not like the sinner's mincha of Israel, ha'ketzad. So how is the sinner's mincha of a Kohen treated? Kometz karev ba'atzmo v'shiraim karev ba'atzmam. The kometz is offered on the altar by itself, and then the shiraim, the remnants, are offered by themselves on the altar. The Tanna Kama of the preceding Braita derived from the verse, and it shall be for the Kohen like the mincha. that a Kohen may do the avodah of his own sinner's mincha. The Gemara asked, what is this derivation is necessary? Why this derivation is necessary, that he may do the avodah of his own sinner's mincha? A Kohen, usually we are using Kohanim to do our service, but if it's a Kohen made a sin, transgressed, and is bringing a mincha, he can do it on his own. He doesn't need the help of anybody. He's a Kohen. He can bring his own mincha.
And he does it for himself.
Yeah. So he says, why do you need the special pasuk to tell it to me? That law which states that its avodah is fit to be done by the Kohen, mehacha nafka. Is it derived from here? The Gemara says in a question mark, mehacha nafka, mehatam nafka. It is derived from elsewhere. As taught in the following Baita, menayin lechohen sheba umakriv korbonotav bechol et ubechol sha'a shirtze. From where do we know that a Kohen may come and offer sacrifices at any time, at any moment that he desires? Talmud lomar uva bechol avat nafsho vesheret. So therefore it states, uva bechol avat nafsho. He comes whenever he desires, vesheret, and he serves. If one had to derive the law from there, one could have said, those words, he shall come with all the desire of his soul, refer only to something, an offering that does not come to atone for sin. Aval davar shebal chet eimalo. A person might argue that a Kohen can come and offer whenever he desires, only when it comes to regular type of offering. But when it comes to a sin offering, maybe it should not be so, and he shouldn't be able to come and offer whenever he wishes. So the kamashmalan that he is able to. But that law too is derived from here, and it shall be for the Kohen like the mincha. Mehatam nafka. The Gemara wants to say that it's already derived from elsewhere, as stated in the following Baita: V'chiper HaKohen ala nefesh hashogeget becheta vishgaga. The Kohen shall effect atonement for the erring soul, for the soul that erred, made a mistake, or transgressed, when he sins through error. Melamed she'haKohen mitkaper al yedei atzmo. This teaches that a Kohen can gain atonement by himself. He can bring his own korban chatat.
And do the whole process for himself.
He can do the avodah even of an offering that atones for his personal sin.
14.
So the Gemara wants to say, if one had to derive the law from that verse, one could have said, those words refer only to an offering brought for sinning inadvertently, b'shogeg. That a Kohen made a sin, transgressed inadvertently by mistake. Aval b'mezid lo, but not to an offering brought for sinning deliberately. Kamashmalan therefore informs us by stating, and it shall be for the Kohen like the mincha, that even if a Kohen is obligated to bring an offering for a deliberate transgression, he may offer it himself.
So by Mezid, he needs another Kohen?
No, so the Gemara wants to say that maybe one can argue that a Kohen is allowed to bring his own offering only if he sinned inadvertently. But if he did it deliberately, he shouldn't be able to bring his own korban. So that's why we have, the Gemara comes to say, no, that even in this case, he is allowed to bring his own korban. So the Gemara says, how can it occur that a sinner's mincha is brought by one who transgressed b'mezid deliberately? Bezadon dishvuah. This occurs in the case of a deliberate violation of shvuah, of the oath of testimony. If you look at number 9, it says, see note 7, Shita Mekubetzet, the Litza section, B'mezid Shvuah. Number 7 says, if a Kohen must bring an offering for a deliberate transgression, he cannot do its avodah himself. In the vast majority of cases, a sinner brings an offering only if his transgression was inadvertent, b'shogeg, because the atonement provided by an offering generally does not suffice for deliberate sin. Again, so the atonement provided by an offering, the atonement, the kapara, that comes to a person through an offering, he brings a korban, generally does not suffice. Usually it's not enough for deliberate sin. If it was done intentionally, it's not suffice. The Mishnah in Kreisos 8b lists 4 instances, 4 cases, where a deliberate transgression affects a sacrificial obligation. Meaning that somebody did something intentionally, but he has to bring a korban. He has to bring a korban as results of it. Number 1 is cohabitation with a shifcha charufa, for which one must bring an asham. Someone cohabited with a shifcha.
What's that?
Right? Shifcha is a maidservant, right? And he has to bring a korban. Should have married her, emancipate her, and then marry her. Instead, cohabited with her. Therefore, he has to bring a korban. He has to bring an offering called korban asham, a guilt offering.
If he was married, yeah?
Has nothing to do with marriage. Nothing to do if he was married or not. The fact that she was in a state of shifcha, and he was not supposed to. Okay. I think it says shifcha charufa is that she was already designated to someone else.
Like you took for someone.
A Nazir who contracts corpse tuma has to bring an asham, a Nazirite that was contaminated.
By corpse.
Yeah, he has to bring a bird chatos and a bird ola before restarting his term. So his term is restarts again after he brings the korban asham, guilt offering, a bird chatos, which is a sin bird, and a bird ola. So he has to bring 3 items, right? 1 animal, 2 birds. That's the case number 2. Case number 3, falsely denying under oath knowledge of testimony, shvuat haidut, which is punishable by variable chatat offering. So denying under oath. Okay. So if you were a witness to something, you saw something happening, and I come to you and I say, I need you to testify for me for what you saw. So you swear to me that you didn't see anything. So you're testifying that you didn't see anything. You not testify, you're swearing that you didn't see anything. And you did see.
Swear in the name of Hashem.
Yeah, shvuat haidut. That's shvuat haidut. So falsely swearing that you didn't see anything happening. And therefore, you're exempting yourself from coming forward to testify. You want to avoid the testifying in court. So you say, I didn't see anything. It happens a lot. People that are witness to a crime scene, and they don't want to get involved, so they say, we didn't see anything. Falsely denying under oath a financial obligation, shvuat pikadon, for which the penalty is an asham. Another case is a similar case. If I loaned you $1,000, for example, in front of 2 witnesses, and you claim that that you don't know me, and I never lended you money. You say, you never lent me money. I come to the witness, I say, you saw it. And now you're swearing I didn't see anything.
The witness.
Yeah, as a witness, falsely you're swearing you didn't see anything. I was not a witness. It's called Shvuat HaPikadon, right? So, I didn't see anything. So we have Shvuat HaEdut, that a guy witnessed a situation happening. You witnessed maybe somebody damaging someone else and so on, or witnessing denying the loan. So all these things are considered that were done deliberately. A guy went with his cohabited with the shifcha, with the maidservant, a nazir that contracted tumah, and Shvuat HaEdut, falsely denying under oath knowledge of a testimony, and Shvuat HaPikadon, falsely denying under oath financial obligation. Okay, all these things a person has to bring Korban Hasham. He has to bring a guilt offering. Can he bring it by himself? If the Kohen was the one involved, can he bring it on its own? It says over here, if a Kohen must bring an offering for a deliberate transgression, for something was done intentionally, he cannot do its avodah himself. He shouldn't be able to do it himself.
The Sphinx has to have another Kohen.
And over here it sounded like he's allowed to do it. In our Mishnah and the Braita cited above, Rabbi Shimon and the rabbis disagree as to whether the sinner's mincha undergoes kemitza, but they both maintained that all its parts are burnt on the altar. The following Braita cites Rabbi Shimon's opinion as well as a third view.
So they don't eat.
So the only debate is if the sinner mincha undergoes kemitza, that they take a little bit and put on the altar. That's a debate. But they both agree that all the parts are burnt on the altar. In other words, nothing is remaining for the Kohanim to eat. Yeah, like you said, there's no eating involved. Tanya Ida, Rabbi Shimon says, Minchat chotesh kohanim nikmetzet. The sin of mincha of a Kohen is subject to kemitza. והקומץ קרב בפני עצמו והשיריים קרבים בפני עצמם. The kometz is offered by itself, and then the remnants are also offered by themselves. But they're offered on the altar, meaning that no one eats. רבי אליעזר ורבי שמעון אומר, הקומץ קרב בעצמו והשיריים מתפזרים על הדשן. So the only difference is, Rabbi Eliezer, the son of Rabbi Shimon, says, the kometz is brought by itself, and the shiraim, the remnants, mitpazrim, they are scattered over the site of the ashes. They're not placed on the altar. They are disposed. They are being treated differently. If you look at number 10, it says Rabbi Eliezer agrees with his father Rabbi Shimon that the sinner's mincha of a Kohen requires kemitza, whereas his father holds that the remnants are burnt on the altar. He maintains that they are scattered over the site of the ashes, Beit HaDeshen, which will be identified by the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba Havi bo Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan had the following difficulty with it. Beit HaDeshen deicha, where is the site of ashes? To which Rabbi Eliezer refers to? If he refers to the site of ashes, that is above the pile of ashes on top of the altar, then his opinion is the same as that of his father. If he refers to the site of the ashes, which is below, the following problem arises. Is anything offered on the site of ashes, which is below? The solution met with an unfavorable reaction. Omar le Rabbi Abba said to him, Dilma leibud. Perhaps Rabbi Eliezer holds that the sinner's mincha of a Kohen is intended for disposal, to which end it is scattered over the site of ashes. It says in 14, Rabbi Abba suggests that although the remnants of the sinner's mincha of a Kohen must be offered to heaven, this is accomplished not by burning them on the altar, but by discarding them.
Discarding is to put in trash?
Yeah. The solution met with unfavorable reaction. Achichu alei, they laughed at it. Look, number 15 says, these scholars considered it as absurd to suggest that the remnants of a sinner's mincha should be discarded. A sacrifice must be offered, is discarded only if it becomes disqualified. It is certainly not consecrated in the first place for that purpose. So achichu alei, they laughed at it, saying, V'chiesh lecha davar shekarev leibud. Is there anything that is offered in the manner of disposal? What does it mean to offer it and then discard it and throw it out? The Gemara defends Rabbi Abba by showing that the remnants of a sinner's mincha of a Kohen are indeed discarded at Beit Hadeshen, at the site of ashes. Tanya v'ua de Rabbi Avin, the father of Rabbi Avin, taught the following Braita: V'chol minchat kohen kalil tiyeh lo te'achel. And every mincha of the Kohen shall be entirely burnt; it shall not be eaten. La'achilai kashtia v'lo ledavar acher. In this verse, God declares, I compared it, the sinner's mincha of a Kohen, to the mincha, to minchas chavitin, only with respect to eating, and not with respect to anything else. That is, the sinner's mincha of a Kohen resembles the minchat chavitin in regards to eating. Just as the minchas chavitin is not eaten, so too the sinner's mincha of a Kohen is not eaten. But otherwise they are different. For as the minchas chavitin is burnt on the altar, the remnants of the sinner's mincha of a Kohen are discarded. They are scattered over the site of the ashes. The Gemara seeks to understand this derivation. Ma'i koma, what is he saying? How can the Tana of this Braisa assert that the sinner's mincha of a Kohen is not burnt, when this verse, when this very verse on which his derivation is based states, and every mincha of a Kohen shall be entirely burnt? The words "and every mincha of a Kohen shall not be eaten" refers to the Kohen's obligatory mincha, i.e., his sinner's mincha. While the words "it shall be entirely burnt" refers to his voluntary mincha. The sinner's mincha of a Kohen is excluded from the commandment, it shall be entirely burnt. Hence, instead of being burnt, it is scattered over the site of ashes. Rava objects to the way in which Abai presented his explanation. Amar le Rava, sakina charifa mafseko kroi. A sharp knife is cutting up the verses. Elam Rava, Rava said, the two phrases should be quoted in the name or in the same order as they appear in the Torah. Kol minchat kohen kalil tiyeh nidvato. Every mincha of a Kohen shall be entirely burnt refers to his voluntary mincha that should be burnt. Lo te'achel chovato. And the pasuk that tells us it shall not be eaten refers to his obligatory mincha. The Gemara challenges this exposition, to which Abaye and Rava subscribe. But I could reverse the attribution of the phrase. Perhaps the phrase "it shall be entirely burnt" refers to the sinner's mincha, and the phrase "it shall not be eaten" to his voluntary mincha. According to this, the sinner's mincha of a Kohen would be burnt on the altar while his voluntary mincha would not. Mistabra nidvato havel rabui sheken tadira lo ichati besim reiche. It says it is reasonable to include his voluntary mincha among those that are burnt on the altar, like the minchas chavitin sheken tadira, because minchas chavitin is resembles to the minchas to mincha that is frequent basis, because it resembles the minchas chavitin in that it is brought on a frequent basis.
Chavitin is chayav?
No, it's a name of a machvat. It's like the pen, the frying pan that was used. But remember, we spoke about if it was made with there was oil or not, and also if they had a lid on top or didn't have a cover or not covered. The Gemara says it is not. Kein tadira nidvato avel rabui shekein tadira. The nedava, the voluntary mincha, is more frequent. Lo ichoti, it is not brought for a sin. It brought as a donation. Besim reiche, and its aroma is pleasant. If you look at 23, it says the voluntary menachos and the minchas chavitin include oil and levona, which emit a pleasant aroma. When you have the flour, the oil, and levona, it's emitting pleasant aroma, good smell. Whereas the sinner's mincha lacks these ingredients. Alternatively, why? Because we didn't want minchat chotet to smell good. Adarabba, the Gemara persists on the contrary. The Gemara says, Adarabba, chovato havel lerabui. It is reasonable to include his obligatory sinner's mincha among the offering that are burnt on the altar, like the minchas chavitin. Why? Sheken isaron, because it resembles the minchas chavitin in that it contains no more than an isaron of flour. It says in 24, in the case of the minchat chavitin and the sinner's mincha, there is a fixed volume of 1 isaron of flour. But for a voluntary mincha, one may donate as many as 60 isarons in each vessel.
Why they limit on the sinner?
If you're gonna make him bring a lot, meaning he has to pay tremendous amount for his sin. He might not bring it. It's too much. If I tell you that in order to do tshuva, you just have to pay for the meal of the day, or what it would cost you to eat for one day. So I'm going to say, okay, it cost me to eat $50. I'm going to give $50. I will repent. I'll do tshuva, and will be forgiven. But if I tell you, you give $1,000, $1 million, okay.
I'll keep the scene. In my account.
But that's my interpretation. It just says that certain menachot, the Torah prescribe a specific amount and what needs to be. But nedava, it says, Kol ish asher yidvenu libo, each person according to what his heart wants to give. No, that's only in machatzit shekel.
Oh yeah.
Machatzit shekel, it says that since machatzit shekel was done.
But also nedava,
No, 1 second.
You cannot choke yourself.
Machatzit shekel, the purpose of machatzit shekel was for counting.
Right.
Moshe Rabbeinu needed to count the Jewish people. So therefore, if the wealthy gives more, then the counting will be off. Yeah, but also another use for machatzit shekel was for korbanot tzibur, for communal offerings. We discussed this before, that if they brought every day korban tamid, how did they have the money for it? So that was for machatzit shekel. They collected once a year, each one brought half a coin. The wealthy and the poor, they all brought the same. And that's how they had money for korbanot tzibur. When it says, Kol ish asher yidvenu libo, when they built the Mishkan, if we're building a synagogue, if I'm going to say everyone should give only $10, then you never get to it. You have 200 members, 200 members will only give you 20,000. Only one wall. But when it comes to building the Mishkan, building the Beit HaMikdash, Kol ish asher yidvenu libo, like in Shar Nikanor. Nikanor went and he traveled and he bought the doors and he spent a lot of money. Why? Because each one according to his capabilities should give. Kol ish asher yidvenu libo. Now, regarding what you said about the mitzvah of tzedakah, yeah, you do tzedakah with smiling to somebody, making somebody feel good. It's also tzedakah. You gave $1 tzedakah, like someone gave $100 tzedakah. But it's all about the effort of how much effort you put into it. So if giving $1 is if for you it's effort, you're putting effort to it because you worked very hard for it. You're making a guy that makes $7 an hour or $10 an hour and he gives $1.
Same like someone makes.
Yeah, it's very hard for him. But a guy that makes a lot of money, he should give more. He should give to the point that tzedakah starts when it starts to hurt. That's tzedakah. When it starts to hurt, that's tzedakah.
Real tzedakah.
It's to go out of your comfort zone. When you're in your comfort zone, what is tzedakah? It's like you throwing a...
Yeah. I need to ask you, is in the Kohen brings also sacrifices if he makes sins?
Yeah, that was our discussion now, yeah. So, yeah, the Kohen brings big time.
By himself, alone. Alone? Yeah, this is the discussion.
He makes his own korban.
So the Gemara says, Sheken Yissaron Chova, because it resembles the Minchat Chavitin in that it contains no more than the Yissaron of flour. Chova, and is brought because of an obligation. The Gemara says, Anach Nefishan, those ways in which the Kohen's voluntary Menachot resemble the Minchat Chavitin are more numerous than the ways in which it resembles Minchat Chavitin. In conclusion, then Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon, holds that the Kohen's voluntary Menachot are burnt on the altar, like the other Minchat Chavitin, while his sinner's Mincha is scattered over the Beit Hadeshen, the site of ashes. The Gemara turns his attention to the rabbis who hold that the sinner's mincha of a Kohen does not undergo kmitza. In other words, they're trying to say that there's a whole different process when it comes to the sinner's mincha of a Kohen in comparison to the sinner mincha of Israel. But the rabbis, v'chol minchat Kohen kalil tihiyeh lo te'achel may avdele. What are they going to do with the pasuk that tells us clearly the mincha of a Kohen kalil tiyeh, which means the whole mincha is consumed by the altar. Lo te'achel, and it's not being eaten. My avdila, what they're going to do with it? It's a clear pasuk that tells us it needs to be consumed by the mizbeach. Mibalu lechetanya, they need it for that which was taught in the following braita. Ein li ela elyona bekalil tokta. I would have known only that the subject of the earlier verse, namely the Minchat Chavitin, is included in that verse commandment. It shall be entirely caused to go up in smoke. Ve'tachtona belo te'achel, and that the subject of the later verse, namely any other mincha offering of a Kohen, is included in that pasuk or in that verse commandment. It shall not be eaten. From where do I know to apply the stated law of this one to that one, and the stated law of that one to this one? It says in 29. That is, how do we know that if one eats either a minchat chavitin, or any other mincha of a Kohen, he violates both the positive commandment and the negative one. In other words, he has two transgressions. One positive transgression and one a negative transgression. Talmud lomar kalil le'gzera shava. The Torah therefore states that the word kalil entirely regarding the chavitin, and the same word entirely regarding the other menachot of a Kohen, for the purpose of establishing a gzera shava between them as follows. Minchat chavitin, mincha of a Kohen, Ne'emar kan kalil, the word kalil entirely is stated here regarding ordinary menachot of a kohen, regular mincha. V'ne'emar le'alan kalil, and the word entirely, kalil, te'achel, is stated there regarding minchat chavitin. Ma le'alan bekalil toktar, afkan bekalil toktar. Just as the mincha mentioned there, the chavitin is included in the commandment, it shall be entirely caused to go up in smoke. Afkan bekalil toktar, so too the mincha mentioned here, any other mincha of a kohen is included in this commandment, it shall be entirely caused to go up in smoke. ומה כאן ליתן לא תעשה על אכילתו, אף להלן ליתן לא תעשה על אכילתו. And just as here, regarding any other mincha of a kohen, the Torah comes to apply a negative commandment against its being eaten, אף להלן תיתן לא תעשה על אכילתו. So there as well, regarding the chavitin, the Torah comes to apply a negative commandment against eating it, against its being eaten.
What is the positive that he's violating, Rabbi? I didn't understand.
So you have two psukim.
The negative, it's easy. לא תאכל. What is the positive?
It says, והכהן המשיח, a pasuk in the book of Leviticus, chapter 6, verse 15, והכהן המשיח תחתיו, מבניו יעשה אותה חוק עולם להשם כליל תוקטר. Okay, so you have a positive commandment. It tells you kalil toktar, it should be consumed. Torah says in a commanding way, that the pasuk tells you need to do A and B. And one of the things that you got to do is that make it that when a kohen brings a mincha, it should completely be consumed on the altar. Okay? And then the Torah says, another pasuk, v'chol minchat kohen, also in Leviticus chapter 6, Chumash Vayikra, Perek 6, following pasuk, v'chol minchat kohen kalil tiyeh lo te'achel. When the Torah says the word lo, then automatically you have a negative prohibition. You have the same way you have positive commandments. Shamor et Yom HaShabbat is a positive commandment, and lo tevaru esh is a negative commandment. So a person that turning on the light on Shabbat, he's doing two violations. One is Shamor et Yom HaShabbat, you have to keep the Shabbat, right? The positive commandment. And one, it says Lo tevaru esh, you're using light, electricity, creates fire, whatever it is. So he's doing two things. Also over here, one pasuk says Lo te'achel, kalil tiyeh lo te'achel, should not be consumed. And one pasuk says Ola Hashem kalil toktar, in a positive commandment, it needs to be completely consumed. So you have two prohibitions.
But could be consumed by the fire, by the altar, not
by the altar. So it says, Chok olam la Hashem kalil toktar. It should be up on the altar. So it's in a positive way. It doesn't say lo te'achel. It says it should need to be consumed by the altar.
What's the meaning of kalil?
Entirely, that the whole thing has to be consumed. Akol, kalul. Yeah, everything is included.
Is the Kohen, if he makes sin, is that more severe than a regular person who is not Kohen?
Depends. If any person, if he commits a sin,
No,
there's deliberate sins, there's deliberate sins, and there is non-deliberate sins. So any person who commits a sin deliberately, intentionally, it's more severe when someone does it unintentional. Meaning, if you know you're not supposed to do it and you're doing it, it's worse than when you're doing it when you don't know. So the same applies to a kohen. If a kohen does something intentionally, it's more severe.
It's better not to know.
It's better not to know at all.
Ignorant.
So it's better.
But in general, it's known that the higher the neshama of the person, sometimes a neshama comes from a neshama of a Jew, a specific guy, comes from a very special place, and it has a specific job. So his neshama, if he does something wrong, it can create more of a damage than another person. That's why some people will tell you that they've been doing whatever they wanted for many years, and nothing happens to them. The opposite, they are successful and everything is good. Another guy would tell you, soon as he does something very little, he gets he's punished on the spot, and he sees it.
This is good.
So it shows that his neshama.
This is good.
It says neshama is so pure that a little thing that happens is right away he's shaken up. Sometimes a person can have a very lofty neshama, but since he covered it up and covered it up and covered it up, so he doesn't feel anymore. He's not as sensitive to kedusha as much as he used to be. But the more the person is connected, the more he feels. Every little thing bothers him. That's why the sages were very careful with everything that was done with them. How they thought, how they spoke, how they ate, how every little thing was very important to them. Because they were so connected, they were so sensitive to it. But if you were ignoring A and B and C, so after time, you become less and less sensitive. Someone eats non-kosher food, it makes him less sensitive to godliness, to kedusha. He doesn't keep Shabbat, doesn't pray, doesn't do so. Even if his neshama is very lofty, but it's covered up with mud and mud and mud. So
I have a question, Rabbi, sorry. We study, so we finish 10 a.m., 9 a.m. So sometimes it's good to disconnect. Why? It's good. It's not. It's bad for us because you're disconnecting from Hashem in some way, but it's kind of relaxing. Like it's good. It's also good. Why? We should feel bad, but it's the opposite.
First of all, we never disconnect from Hashem.
But when you study, you're connecting.
You're saying you when we walk out of the shul, we're not as involved with
Yes.
kedusha. But
Yes.
the idea is that you have to bring. The idea is that you have to bring everything that you're learning throughout the day, which means that if you learned even one thing in this class or any class, you heard something, and you walk into the street and it bugs your head and it's in your head, you're a completely different person. So the learning is there to change your day. It says, "B'chol drachecha da'eu." This is the highest level. In all your ways, you should know Hashem. How do we know Hashem in all of our ways? How do we do it? By you taking the shul with you to wherever you go. It's not that, okay, I close the door of the shul and now I'm a different human being. I'm like everyone else. No, you have to take everything with you to the street, and then ultimately, it gives you the power to change the street, to change the surroundings.
It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing, but that's the concept of Ratzov V'Shov. We're getting close. But ultimately, God wants us to be involved with the world. But He wants us to bring Kedusha to the world, to bring Him to the mundane also, but elevates it.
I want to ask a question. Go ahead.
I don't want to keep making it longer, but I heard a concept recently that the neshama is so pure, there's different levels to it, but there's a part of it that when you're about to make a sin, it'll leave your body.
Right.
So your body does it, but the neshama doesn't, and doesn't want to do it. There's this conflict. Can you explain that just a little bit?
It says about the sin of Adam HaRishon that when he ate from the tree of knowledge, Adam HaRishon was a neshama klalit. It's called the general neshama, meaning all the neshamot were included in his neshama. But there was a few neshamot, very holy neshamot, that departed when he ate from the tree of knowledge. They left him because they were so holy and so pure that they cannot be with him at the time of eating from the tree of knowledge. So they just left.
How did they just
So similarly, there's levels within our neshama that are not affected by the sin. You can only taint certain levels within your neshama by sinning, because at the end of the day, we only have a spark of our neshama. the main part of the neshama, we have nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya yechida. Nefesh is with us, in us, so we can blemish it, God forbid. We can taint it a little bit. But when it comes to ruach, less of effect. When it comes to the neshama, there's less. The neshama is connected with Hashem, with godliness, so it cannot be affected by the body. So only the lowest level of the neshama is affected by what happens with the body, the way the body conducts itself.
So the neshama has some grades.
Yeah, 5 levels. That's why we are lighting 5 candles. Why 5? Why not 4? Or why not 6? Ner neshama. Why are we putting 5 candles for the niftar, for someone who passed away? You have chiyuv.
They light 5 candles.
5 candles.
What is the meaning of כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד? There is a nice song actually in Hebrew.
It is.
Yeah, but
It is.
what's the meaning of that in terms of because I had some lectures that they were talking about that, and I was just trying to understand what do they mean exactly.
Says if you from my understanding, the meaning of the idea of this song is to teach us that a person should not fear anything else but fearing God. The primary thing is to fear God. So if your perspective, your view of the world is that the world is big and therefore I should have reverence of the world, I should fear the world, then it makes sense. You should fear the world because the world is so big. But if my perspective is that the world is only a gesher tzar, is only a narrow bridge, as it says in the Mishnah, that it's only a prosdor, is a corridor that takes me to Olam Haba, to the next world. I have a mission to do here. So it's not, I'm not making it, it's only created by the dibur of Hashem. So the world is gesher tzar, therefore I should not fear anything, I should only fear Hashem, I should have awe of Hashem. Yeah, the primary thing is not to be afraid. A person should do his mission, to do what he needs to do with himself, the work that he has to do with himself, the work that he has to do with his surroundings, and that's it. The rest of it is commentary, right? As Hillel HaZaken said, love your fellow Jew, love
yourself.
Yeah, love your fellow Jew, and the rest is commentary. We have to do our work, and that's it. And shouldn't worry about the governor and this guy and that guy.
העולם הוא גשר צר מאוד, והעיקר לא לפחד.
There's a Mishnah, a beautiful Mishnah that says that at the time of, it says בשעת פטירתו של אדם, at the time of the passing of a person, לא מלווין לו לאדם לא כסף ולא זהב, לא אבנים טובות ולא מרגליות. It says in the time when a person passes away,
Take nothing with him.
the gold and the silver and the buildings and the real estates and the assets and the bank accounts, lo melavin lo, they're not accompanying him, they're not walking with him to the grave. Yeah. They stay. He goes, right? So there's a question that Chachamim asked, well, I need the rabbi to tell me that no one goes to the grave. It's a small grave. It's 6 by 6 foot and I don't know, 2 feet this way width and 5-6 foot length. That's it. Well, I need to tell me that the buildings don't fit in the grave, and the money is not going to fit there, and the gold and the silver. It's obvious. It's self-understood. So he says, Lo melavin lo le'adam. It's speaking about the people that go with him, the people that come to the funeral. People that walk with a person to the grave. If you ever listen to the eulogies, right? The eulogies is what is being said after someone passed away. You ever listen to the espedim? You ever listen to what they say? If you look at someone, in other words, what they're doing is
eulogy.
In other words, what they're saying is that they're giving everyone has a resume in life. So there's 2 types of resumes. There's the resume that you use to get a job, or that's how you describe yourself, I'm real estate, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. That's your resume. And there's the resume of after 120 when someone goes to the grave. What is interesting, if you think about it, you find a guy, heard the Rabbi Jacobson, says that he knows somebody in the community, never had time for anything. You come to him, I'm in a rush, I'm running. He says the guy is for 50 years buying and selling real estate, buy this building, flip this building, make this deal happen, running, never have time for anything. He says after the guy passed away, he comes to his levaya. That was his whole life. Nobody said one word about his willing and dealing and real estate and buying building and selling buildings and making money here and squeezing the juice out of this guy and squeezing the juice out of that guy. That guy was fighting. That was his whole life. Didn't have a chance to breathe. Didn't have a time for his wife. Didn't have time for his children, grandchildren. Selling and buying and selling. That's all he did. Not one word in the funeral. That's your resume. That's what you did. No, he found that he helped somebody one time, and he smiled at this guy, and he was nice to the other guy, and he made me feel so good, and this guy made me feel so good. And he one time met an orphan, and he paid his college, and another time he paid this guy his tuition. And where's not one word? 50 years, the guy. So it teaches us that En melavin lo le'adam, your real resume, what really counts. How many? If we ask ourselves, if we take the whole day, you have 12 hours, 14 hours in the day, and you ask yourself, what is really meaningful of what I did today? If you break it down, you see I did 30 things during the day. What is really meaningful? That I called the guy and I saved $100 here and I made $300 there. What is really a meaningful thing that I did today? What is really going with me after 120?
That's better statement.
So
what is it going with? Exactly.
But what I'm saying is, if it's meaningful, it's going with you. If it's not meaningful, it's not going with you. And that's what it says, even by people. Even if you look at people, not necessarily religious people, but what will they remember? That you bought 40 Wall Street, you sold 40 Wall Street? Or they'll remember your kindness, you remember the true things that you did in this world. Because these things really go with you. This is the real thing.
Yeah, but somebody can be extremely secular and he can be charitable, or he can do good deeds for people, like helping people, but he's extremely anti-God and extremely secular. So one has nothing to do with the other. So it depends if he does whatever he does for God and spiritually, or he does it because he's anti-God and he's helping somebody to build science department or something. He gives money there or whatever. He doesn't give any money to people in need. So it just depends, what he does exactly.
Look, a Jew that is involved with kindness, he does mitzvah. He does a mitzvah, whether he does it for God or he does it for his ego, he did a mitzvah.
Is that called mitzvah
now,
if he gives money?
One second. Let me finish. So you're doing a mitzvah regardless if you're giving to a poor person for your ego, or you're giving for the sake of the mitzvah. You're not feeling anything for this guy, but you're giving because Hashem told you to give. But we learned that when you give, because that's what Hashem wants for me to do, even if I don't really understand it and I don't really feel that I should give him, but you give because Hashem told you to give, it's a higher level of mitzvah. So you can do the mitzvah in two different ways. You can either do it because you like to do it, but it could be that that's your inclination. Some people, their inclination is that they like to give. Some people, their inclination is that they don't like to give, but they're still giving. So the person who doesn't like to give and still gives, he does it for Hashem. He says, Hashem told me to give, therefore I'm giving. I don't understand it. I don't like the guy that is receiving. and I don't like to give, but I'm still giving because Hashem wants me to do it. So obviously you can do it either l'shem shamayim, or you can do it l'shem yourself. You can do it for Keter Shem Tov, that they will call you the philanthropist.
Don't you think you are helping, if you are giving money to build an institution that for feminist movement in the university, feminist studies, or whatever you do against God, that it's not spiritual at all. You are not helping the sin to make them to be more sin, especially if they are Jewish people and studying there, and you are encouraging them to study those things that have nothing to do with religion.
So you are giving an example.
Spiritual part at all of what God said to do.
So you are giving an example of someone that does he sins. It's just an example for a sin. If I'm donating money to places where it's encouraging people to sin, then I'm helping them to sin. That's not a mitzvah. When the Jewish people gave for the Egel, they did a mitzvah. They were giving. They gave donations to create the Egel. They did a mitzvah? No. When they gave money to build the Mishkan, they did a mitzvah. So we give him an example, a guy donated to the museum in England. Very nice. You're a charitable guy, but that's your cause. It's not godly cause. We're talking about people that are doing godly causes. A godly cause is Hashem says, Ani rachum afatati rachum. I'm merciful, you should be merciful too. That's what it is. Not
to build a museum is not merciful.
Well, exactly that's what I said. Just to give to somebody, it's not a mitzvah if the purpose of giving is going for the wrong direction.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if you're feeding a homeless person who is hungry,
you're doing a mitzvah.
Even though you don't do it for Hashem, you just do it because you're just helping someone.
You know that if you walked in the street and $100 bill fell off your pocket, you didn't even know that you lost $100. And a poor person picked it up and bought himself a meal, you did a mitzvah.
Yeah. But you didn't know you did a mitzvah.
But you did a mitzvah, Hashem knows.
Yeah, just.
Anyway, let's continue. It says, Minayin liten amur shel zeh bezeh vet amur shel zeh bezeh. From where do I know to apply the stated law of this one to that one, and the stated law of that one to this one? Amud lomar kalil legzera shava. The Torah therefore states entirely for gzera shava. Ne'emar kan kalil v'ne'emar le'alan kalil. Ma le'alan bekalil toktar, afkan bekalil toktar. Just as the mincha mentioned there, the chavitin is included in the commandment that should entirely cause to go up in smoke. Afkan bekalil toktar. Uma kan liten lo ta'aseh lechilato. And just as here regarding any other mincha of a Kohen, the Torah comes to apply a negative commandment against its being eaten. Af lehalan liten lo ta'aseh lechilato. There. So there as well, regarding the chavitin, the Torah comes to apply a negative commandment against its being eaten. Bai Ravina asked, Kohen she'achal min ha'imurin ma'u? If a Kohen ate from a imurin, which we know that it's imurin is the fat and the innards that were placed on the altar. What is the law? Lav de zarut. As far as the prohibition of a foreignness, it says v'chol zar. It says a person that is a foreigner should not eat. Israel is not allowed to eat the korbanot. Is not allowed to eat from the sacrificial offerings. Now, if a Kohen ate something that he wasn't supposed to eat, Kohen she'achal min ha'imurin, the imurim has to go on the altar, and he ate from it. As far as the prohibition of foreigners is concerned, the prohibition v'chol zar lo yochal kodesh, it says that any zar should not eat kodesh. Lo kami bali, I have no question that he is guilty. Obviously he ate something that the mizbeach should have consumed, not him. That he is guilty. Ki kami bali, what then am I asking about? Lav de kalil tiyeh. I'm asking about the prohibition of it shall be entirely burnt, it shall not be eaten. Mai, what is the law? This prohibition, which appears in connection with menachot, apply only to menachot or to all sacrificial portions that must be burnt, including imurim. The question is answered, Amar Ravuna leRavina, Amar Rav Aaron Ravina. Rav Aaron said to Ravina, Tashma, come learn the following proof. The Tanya, it was taught in a Braita, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Kol shu bekalil tiyeh liten lo ta'aseh al achilato. Anything that is subject to the requirement, kalil tiyeh, it shall be entirely burnt. The pasuk comes to apply a negative commandment against its being eaten. Accordingly, since the emurim must be burnt, they too are subject to the prohibition against eating. Says in number 3, in conclusion, a kohen who eats emurim would receive the 2 sets of malchus. You know what malchus is? Lashes. 2 sets of lashes for violating the prohibition of zarut. He's a foreigner. It's not per se a foreigner because he's a kohen, but it's this, when it comes to emurim, comes to a part that needs to be placed on the altar, he's considered zar for this. And 1 for the prohibition, kalil tiyeh lo te'achel, it should be entirely burnt, it shall not be eaten.
2 lashes only?
2 sets. Every set is comprised of, as we learned that the rabbis would bring a doctor to evaluate how much he can take. So if he's a very strong guy, he can take 2 sets of 39, meaning each set is 39. There's no more than 39. Yeah. Yeah. There's no more than 39.
No more than
So they would evaluate. He can take 39. They would give him 39, and then they give him another 39.
We study if the guy makes urine during the lashes, it should stop.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, if he
Yeah,
urine.
Accordingly, since the emurim is to be burned, they're 2 subject to the prohibition against eating.
אם
not
הוא
right,
עושה יורין
Rabbi?
באמצע הלש שמפסיקים,
Yeah.
מה זה גרם פה?
No, because he already
הכניס אותו
had.
לפחד.
Right, so it says if
When he gets scared, that's what happened.
the embarrassment
Embarrassment.
is, it says the embarrassment that a person has, it already causing him to, it's repentant already. He is
Yeah, but
forgiven. This
Urinating is
embarrassment.
not from embarrassing, it's from pahad.
Right. And I'm saying that
That's
after,
what caused the
after,
urine.
okay, so he was afraid, and
Right.
it caused him to
It
do
caused
it,
him
and now he's embarrassed.
Everyone is looking, his pain, so...
Yeah. Now he's
Yeah,
embarrassed.
after the maaseh, it became embarrassing.
So
But
we
the
stopped.
cost
That's
of
it.
So we stop lashing.
We stopped. That's it.
That's it.
He got embarrassed.
He's
He's
done.
humiliated. Now a new Mishnah. The previous Mishnah 72b named the Menachot that require kmitzah, and whose remnants are eaten by the Kohanim. Here at least those that do not undergo kmitzah but are completely burnt on the altar. Minchat Kohanim, the mincha of Kohanim, do not undergo kmitzah. Minchat Kohen Mashiach, the mincha of anointed Kohen, do not undergo kmitzah. What is the anointed Kohen? It says in number 5, the minchas chavitin, which is brought daily by the Kohen Gadol. It's a mincha that was brought by the Kohen Gadol every day, half in the morning and half in the afternoon. The Kohen Gadol is called the anointed Kohen. The high priest was called the anointed Kohen because he's installed into his high office through being anointed with the special oil prepared by Moshe Rabbeinu. This oil was poured on him
His skin.
and on his head. כשמן הטוב על הראש, יורד על הזקן. So they would pour it, including in this category is minchat chinuch, initiation mincha, which is brought by an ordinary Kohen on his first day of service. By a Kohen Gadol, the day he assumes office. The initiation mincha is identical to the minchat chavitin, except that it is not offered in halves, but all at once. So minchat chinuch and minchat chavitin are very similar, but there's one difference, that minchat, the mincha of the Kohen Gadol, minchat chavitin, is brought half in the morning, half in the afternoon, and is brought every day. But the minchat chinuch, if someone starts to work, we know that They used to practice from age 25 to age 30, and on his first day of service, real service, he had to bring mincha. He had to bring an offering. The Kohen Gadol would do it for him, but he would bring it all at once. So it was one time when you start, and bringing the whole thing in one shot.
We will see this.
Amen, hopefully.
I want to see this. You will study. I want to see it happening. Can you imagine doing this?
It says, we say in prayer,
When the Mikdash come, you will see everything.
we say in prayer every day, אין לנו לא כהן בעבודתו,
ולא ישראל מה.
ולא לוי בדוכנו, ולא ישראל במעמדו. So what does it mean? ולא ישראל במעמדו.
All this means we don't have Beit HaMikdash. And that's why those three not existing.
So I would, you're answering it, but you're answering it in.
And simple.
It's simple, but it's not that it's simple. It's not telling me what does it mean. כהן בדוכנו, לוי בדוכנו, אין לנו לא כהן בעבודתו. The עבודה of the Kohen we know. לוי בדוכנו, what is לוי בדוכנו? The Levim had a דוכן that they would sing. So we don't see it. The Levim singing. ולא ישראל במעמדו, what is מעמדו? There's something called מעמדות. מעמדות was a group of Israelim that they would go to the Beit HaMikdash to watch the avodah of the Kohanim. So they are the representative of a community. Let's say the Syrian community sent a korban. So they had a representative of the community they would watch. They would go there and watch the avodah that was happening. So when we say in prayer, אין לנו לא כהן בעבודתו, ולא לוי בדוכנו, ולא ישראל במעמדו, now you know we don't have that representatives now going to the Beit HaMikdash and watching what was taking place. So you said correctly, we don't have Beit HaMikdash, but we are not exposed to all these things that were done in Beit HaMikdash. So we learned about Minchat Kohen Mashiach, which is Minchat Chavitin. The Minchat of Kohen Mashiach is the Minchat Chavitin. Uminchat Nesachim, what is Minchat Nesachim? So it's in number 6, it says a mincha and a wine libation, collectively known as nesachim, must accompany every olah and shlamim offering. The mincha is called minchat nesachim. So what you need to know from this, that every time somebody brings korban olah, it has to come with minchat nesachim. And what's so special about Minchat Nesachim?
Nesachim they will eat, yeah?
It says Nesachim is lenasech, it's melashon nisuch, to pour. And Mincha is called Minchat Nesachim. It comes with a wine libation, Mincha and a wine libation. So it comes with wine. Okay? So they call it Minchat Nesachim because it comes with wine and it was accompanying the korban olah, the burnt offering. Lamizbeach, so it says nesachim, minchat kohanim, minchat kohen mashiach, minchat nesachim, lamizbeach ve'ein bain lakohanim. They are entirely for the altar, and no part of them is for the kohanim. The whole thing goes in the mizbeach. They don't get anything from it.
Which one, Rabbi? Sorry.
All the menachot that we just mentioned, minchat kohanim, minchat kohen mashiach, and minchat nesachim, למזבח ואין בהן לכהנים. ובזה יפה כוח מזבח מכוח הכהנים. We see with this offerings that we mentioned, the right of the altar is stronger than the right of the kohanim. I mean, the altar has more rights of having this mincha, that the altar takes the whole thing rather than the kohanim getting from it.
But they put wine in the fire, in the flame?
Yeah.
Didn't turn off?
It says nisuch hayayin, the libation of wine was done every day. On Sukkot, there was something special called nisuch hamayim, the libation of water, meaning that they would put water on the mizbeach. And that was done only on Sukkot.
And the
Sukkot.
flame didn't, nothing happened?
And why water on Sukkot?
They did it when the altar was not. They like washed it off, so to speak.
Okay.
With. Okay, the first part of the Mishnah ended by stating in this, the right of the altar is stronger, which implies that only the previously listed offerings, the mincha, kohanim, etc., all the menachot that we mentioned, minchat kohanim, minchat kohen Mashiach. When it says minchat kohanim, is referring to a voluntary mincha that he volunteering to give, or mincha that the kohen gives because of a sin. So minchat nidal, it's a voluntary mincha. It's included in minchat kohanim, and the mincha of sinning. The kohen sinned, he has to bring this mincha. It's called minchat kohanim. Minchat kohen Mashiach, we said, is the mincha of the kohen gadol, which was half in the morning, half in the evening. It's also called minchat chavitin. Minchat nesachim is the mincha that comes with korban olah, and it's also including wine. And it goes to the mizbeach, and it's not eaten by the kohanim. The Gemara says, "V'tu leika," and there are no others. Why are you only mentioning these menachot? There's no other menachot that are completely consumed by the mizbeach, or there's no other menachot that are showing that the mizbeach is stronger than the person, than the kohen. Meaning the mizbeach has more rights of consuming, of eating than the kohen. V'ayika olah, but what about the olah? Korban olah is oleh la Hashem, the whole thing is consumed. Ika ora la kohanim, it says olah is not entirely burnt on the altar. For there is its hide. The hide is the skin of the offering, which is given to the kohanim. V'ayika olah ta'of, but there is also the bird olah. The Gemara says, what about the bird olah? The whole thing is on the altar, it's consumed. The Gemara says, Ika mora v'notzah. It's crop and feathers, which are deposited not on the altar, but next to it. So it's not completely consumed. Va'ika nesachim, but there are the nesachim. What is with the nesachim? The wine component of nesachim that goes on the altar. The Gemara answers, Leshitin azlei, they go down into the shitin. What is the shitin? So it says in 16, the wine of the nesachim is poured into one of the two bowls attached to the top of the altar as its southwest corner. Each bowl has a spout and its base. At its base, through which the wine runs onto the surface of the altar and drains from there through a hole in the altar's top to a deep cavity beneath the altar. In other words, it ultimately drains down. What is the purpose of the clause in this? The right of the altar is stronger. What does it mean by the right of the altar is stronger?
That's the right to eat.
So let's see as the Gemara explains. To exclude Shmuel's ruling. Shmuel said, "Amitnadev yain mevio mezalfo al gabei ishim." One who donates wine as an independent offering, brings it to the temple, and the Kohen sprinkles it on the fires of the altar. To dispel this notion, our Mishnah added, in this, the right of the altar is stronger. Kamash malan de leshitin azlei, teaching us that only the previously listed offerings are burnt on the altar, whereas wine goes down into the shitin, goes down into these bowls. The Mishnah did not mention oil among the offerings that are burnt entirely on the altar. We spoke about wine, we didn't mention oil. Mesayale l'Shmuel, it supports a different ruling by Shmuel. Da'amar Shmuel, Amitnadev shemen komtzo. The Kohen performs kemitzah with it, with the oil. Veshirav ne'echalim, and its remnants are consumed by the Kohanim. So the Kohanim are taking some of the oil. Shtei alechem ve'lechem apanim, the shtei alechem, the bread of the two loaves of Shavuos, and the lechem aponim and the showbread are completely eaten by the Kohanim, and no part of them is burnt on the altar. V'tu leika, there are no other offerings that are entirely eaten by the Kohanim. V'ika chatat tov, there is the bird chatat that is consumed by the Kohanim. Ikadomo, the bird chatas is not entirely eaten. Further, it's blood. What about the blood which applied on the altar?
Blood is not the ochel.
Part of the animal. It's part of the bird. It's not ochel, but it's part of it. So meaning it's not completely given to the person. Vayika shemen shel metzora, but there is the metzora logs of oil, which is given to the Kohanim. Ikamat notav, this too is not entirely eaten, for there are its applications. Some of the oil is thrown onto the parochet, so they're not receiving everything. The Mishnah concluded, in this the right of the Kohanim is greater. The Gemara explains why this clause was added. Umay bazo, and what is the intent of the words in this? La'apukim iman de'omar shte alechem abois b'fnei atzmon lisreifo asyon. They serve to exclude the ruling of the one who says that when the shtei halechem are brought by themselves, they come to be burnt. Kamash malan devezo yafa koach kohanim lo'olam. To dispel this notion, the Mishnah teaches us that in this, the shtei halechem, the right of the Kohanim, is stronger under all circumstances. When it comes to shtei halechem, the right of the Kohanim is always prevailing, is always stronger. If you look at number 25 and 26, it says the Torah requires the shtei halechem to be waved, tenufa, together with the two communal shalomim lambs. Rabbi Akiva rules that if the lambs are not available, the shtei halechem are brought anyway. Rabbi Shimon ben Nanas and Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai maintain that they are not brought unless you have the two lambs. Amayroim disagree as to whether Rabbi Akiva means that the shtei halechem are brought to the temple to be discarded through burning or to be eaten by the Kohanim. Our Mishnah sides with the opinion that they are eaten, even if the two lambs are not around. That's the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. The Amoraic dispute is relevant only to biblical law. As far as rabbinic law is concerned, both parties agrees that according to Rabbi Akiva, the shtei halechem are left overnight and then burnt. The redundant words in this, etc., are understood as an inclusion which teaches that according to Rabbi Akiva, the Kohanim eat the shtei halechem under biblical law, even when the shlom offerings are unavailable. The Gemara interprets this clause differently from the way it is interpreted the extra clause of the Mishnah's first section, whereas the first extra clause, and this the right of the altar is stronger, excludes an offering from the altar. The present clause in this, the right of the Kohanim is stronger, includes the offering for the Kohanim. So anyways, we see, that's from the Chazon Ish, we see that there are two scenarios where a scenario where the Mizbeach is stronger and a scenario where the Kohanim have a stronger right. When it comes to Shtei HaLechem, the 2 loaves of bread of Shavuos, the Kohanim has a stronger right because they are completely eating the Shtei HaLechem and the Mizbeach gets nothing. New Mishnah, Kol HaMenochos HaNasos B'chli. The Mishnah teaches how the oil of a mincha is added to its flour. All mincha offerings are made in a sacred vessel. Ta'unot shlosha matanot shemen requires 3 applications of oil. Yetzika uvelila umatan shemen b'chli. Pouring, uvelila mixing, umatan shemen b'chli kodem le'asyatan. And the initial placement of oil into the vessel before the making of the mincha. It says in 28, the required measure of oil is not added all at once, but in 3 installments.
They do like this, yeah? As you explain, yeah?
No, but the idea is, it says that the way they would pour the oil was not in one shot, in 3 different times. Okay, throughout the process. If you look at the baking, many times they tell you that if you put for example, you put the flour, then you put the yeast. If you put salt right after, it says it doesn't allow the yeast to
ferment,
to work properly, right?
Sometimes they put the salt in the end.
So you're giving it a little more time, and then you do it. So it's similarly, obviously it's not similar, but the idea is that the oil, when it comes to the mincha, the oil was applied in 3 different stages. So it says the required measure of oil is not added all at once, but in 3 installments. These 3 applications are listed in the Mishnah in reverse order. First, some of the oil is put into a vessel, matan shemen bichli, and the flour is placed on it, meaning the flour is placed on top of the oil. First you put the oil, then you put the flour. At this point, lukewarm water is added and then ingredients are needed. Then you knead the dough. Second, more oil is introduced and mixed in belila. Third, one pours in the remaining oil to fulfill the mitzvah of yetzika, of pouring. Yeah. כל המנחות הנעשות בכלי טעונות 3 מתנות שמן. Requires 3 application of oil. יציקה ובלילה ומתן שמן בכלי קודם לעשייתן, and the initial placement of oil into the vessel before the making of the mincha. Tanoim disagree as to when the mixing is performed. Chalot bolelan, one mixes the oil into the menachot after they have been made into loaves. So one mixes the oil into the menachot after they have been made into loaves, after he created already the loaves. Divrei Rabbi. These are the words of Rabbi. V'chachamim umrim, but the sages say, solet. One mixes the oil into them when they are still flour. The Mishnah elaborates on the oven-baked mincha. This mincha comes in 2 forms, chalot and rekikin. Chalot and wafers. And the difference between them lies in the oil, how the oil is applied. The difference between chalot and rekikin is how the oil was applied. Chalot ta'unot belila. The chalot requires mixing with the oil. Urekikin meshicha, where the rekikin are only smearing of the oil on top.
Because it's wafer.
Keitzad moshchan, how does one smear them? Kemin chi, one smears oil on the rekikin in the shape of chi. What is the shape of chi? Ve'ashar ne'echalin la'kohanim, and the rest of the oil is consumed by the kohanim. It says in 33.
Boy, the kohanim has been eating all day long.
This is a Greek letter, sometimes called the ki or chi, and is often called ki yavanit or kaf yavanit. Its exact identity is disputed among the commentators. Rashi describes it as something like a letter tet, when the index finger is separated from the thumb. There is no Greek letter that looks quite like tet, the letter tet. Whenever the spreading of the thumb and index finger resemble the lower case, a form of the 20th letter of the Greek alphabet,
L.
called upsilon and written U. Anyway, so this trying to describe to us how it was smeared, and he said it was smeared like the shape of this letter tet, according to Rashi, or ki. It's ki or kaf, because it is the 20th letter of the numerical value. Gematria of the Hebrew letter kaf is 20. Rashi's opinion is difficult to ascertain. However, because elsewhere he gives other descriptions in his commentary on Chumash Shmot, the book of Exodus 29, he writes that it resembles a nun, In Horayot, he compares it to Chet, the shape drawn in his commentary, to Kreisus 5b. So there's different places in Rashi where it's one time it says Tes, Nun, or Ches. Tosfot here, Rambam, depicts the letter in question as X. This matches the 22nd letter of the Greek alphabet called Chi. Tiferet Yisrael, Zevachim 10a. Okay, so different opinion how it was, how Meshicha was exactly done. The Gemara says, the Mishnah began by saying all menachot that are prepared in a vessel, right? Kol ha-menachot. The Mishnah said, Kol ha-menachot ha-na'asot b'chli te'unot shlosha matanot. So it says, Kol ha-menachot. All menachot that are prepared in a vessel require 3 applications of oil. The Gemara says, Lema'ute mai, what does the qualification prepared in vessels? Anasot bichli. Lema'ute mai, to exclude what? Amar Rav Papa, lema'ute minchat ma'afeh, to exclude the mincha that is baked in an oven. In other words, the mincha that is baked in an oven, you should not pour the oil. Tanu Rabbanan. The rabbis taught in a baita, V'im minchat marcheshet korbanecha solet bashemen teaseh. Scripture states, if your offering is a mincha of the marcheshet, it shall be made of fine flour in oil. Leviticus. Melamed sheteuna matan shemen b'chli. This verse teaches that it requires an application of oil in a vessel before the flour is added. The pasuk can be rendered in 37. It says, "Solet bashemen teaseh." The flour should be made in oil. Some oil must be placed in the vessel first, and then the flour later. This pasuk appears in connection with Menachot, Minchat Marcheshet, but its lesson is extended to the Minchat Machvat, and then to other Menachot. So it says, Marchesh Gurah B'Shem Te'aseh, Melamed she'tu'una matan shemen b'chli. This verse teaches that it requires an application of oil in a vessel before the flour is added. Korbanecha legzera shava. The Torah states your offering in that verse about the Minchat Marcheshet, regarding Minchat Marcheshet, and it also states you offering Korbanecha in connection with the Minchat Machvat, for the purpose of establishing Gzera Shava between Minchat Marcheshet and Minchat Machvash, to say that there is a connection between the two. What is the connection? Ma kan matan shemen b'chli, af la'alan matan shemen b'chli. Uma la'alan yitzika u'lila, af kan yitzika u'lila. The Gzera Shava teaches that just as here, in the case of Minchat Marcheshet, the Torah requires an application of oil in the vessel, so there as well, in the case of Minchat Machvat, the Torah requires an application of oil in the vessel. And just as there, regarding the Minchat Machvat, the Torah requires pouring and mixing, so here too, with respect to the Minchat Marcheshet, the Torah requires pouring and mixing. Bruchim Tiyu. And this is the Daf Yomi for today.